Baldur's Gate 2 Shadows of Amn. It's basically like this. In the late 90s, there was a sensational CRPG phenomenon known as the Infinity Engine games. They were dense, systems-heavy, and featured party-based tactical combat. And they were also driven by what somebody described to me as improvisational confidence. An excellent example of this is the legendary Planescape Torment. Artist Dennis Presnell described himself as a college dropout who learned his digital art tools for Torment just by pressing buttons and seeing what it did. Starting in the mid-2000s, a new wave of RPGs has emerged. These games borrowed ideas from the old Infinity Engine products, but removed much of the friction, repackaging them into something accessible to normal people. You don't need to know what Thaco is to enjoy Dragon Age. Some would argue that the medium was simplified too much. What you obtain too cheaply, you esteem too lightly. An astute observation, Korgan. So right in the middle, between the old wave and the new, there was this. Baldur's Gate 2 had the system's complexity of the older games, but without their amateurishness. The Porsche engineers knew exactly what their objective was. An enormous selection of playable classes, a deep item ecosystem, companion romances practically invented here, class-specific player strongholds. Fighter-type characters will acquire a castle and get to roleplay as nobility, while thieves get to operate their own thieves' guild, and bards receive a theater to manage, complete with an acting troupe. They absolutely did not have to go this hard for a class that so few people play. This is going to be a long adventure video. We'll explore this legendary game, and we'll be doing it with an evil party, quote unquote. So, what is Athkatla? It's the capital of Amn, one of the wealthiest nations in Faerun, a place where nearly every aspect of life revolves around money. Almost everything is legal in the city of coin. Amn is ruled by the Council of Six, drawn from the most influential merchant houses, though some claim that the real power lies with the criminal organization known as the Shadow Thieves. The Cowled Wizards impose strict rules that limit the use of arcane magic in Amn. There is a planar starship that materialized in the city slums. Nobody knows how to get inside, or how to get rid of it. If you are visiting, make sure to stop by the Five Flagons Inn and catch a performance by the Sigil acting troupe. A comedy of terrors is a must-see, and Rally's Shy is fantastic, as always. Temporary guest laborers from Baldur's Gate are easy to spot by their plain clothing and poor hygiene. They display total confusion about the vertical nature of our great city. In Athkatla, we pray to Waukeen, Liberty's maiden. The moral core of our society is safeguarded by the Order of the Radiant Heart. The knights spend their lives in the service of the people of Faerun. Underneath the city is a maze of secret paths and dungeons. Dungeons such as this one.
Ah, the child of Bhaal has awoken.
How did I get here? Well, that's a long story. My name is Vashar Vo. I'm a philanthropist, entrepreneur, and community organizer. I hate it when I wake up as a test subject in an evil wizard's secret lab, but it does make sense. Our father Bhaal, the lord of violence and ritual murder, left many offspring across the realms. Individuals like us inevitably attract the attention of scholars. During the events of Baldur's Gate 1, our brother Sarevok built an elaborate political machine to mobilize the masses and march them to war, turning the nation into a murder ritual on a grand scale. But tragically, Sarevok himself fell to the design he set in motion.
Do you even realize your potential?
More intruders have entered the complex. faster.
They act sooner than we had anticipated.
After the evil wizard leaves, our sister Imoen unlocks the cage, and the adventure begins again. This is Vashar's character sheet. She has god-level stats, but her class, Assassin, isn't great at combat and doesn't fully capitalize on them. But sometimes funny things do happen, like Vashar will throw a dagger with the strength of a giant and absolutely disintegrate some poor fool. We'll be evolving her profession in interesting ways.
Yep, gotcha.
Let's take a look at our sister's character sheet. Imoen is a thief to mage dual class. That means that she cannot get any more thief levels. But that's fine, since her open locks and find traps values are sufficient.
Quickly, we must get out of here before whoever did this returns.
Our old friend Jaheira is trapped in the dungeon with us. Her annoying husband Khalid is nowhere to be seen. Let's keep it that way. Jaheira is a fighter druid multi-class, and that means that she will advance in both professions simultaneously.
Minsk will be free!
Oh, it's the fan favorite, goofy warrior Minsk. I've had a lot of time to think about this, about life, about our brother's mistakes. Sarevok's plan was too megalomaniacal, too many moving parts, too many ways to fail, and fail it did. This time, we'll begin on a smaller scale, a professional mercenary operation. Minsk doesn't have his shit together, so there is no place for him and my host. Imoen, don't make eye contact. It's normal for an old RPG to have an over-designed intro area. But this is Baldur's Gate 2. This is a Ferrari of over-designed intro areas. Let's go. A beautiful crystal chamber where an Efreet presents us with a riddle. A science lab with gross experiments in jars. A strange machine that imprisons a Cambion knight. A training room for a shapeshifter to learn local culture. Or for a local to learn shapeshifter culture, I'm not actually sure. A system of unlockable shortcuts, in case you need to backtrack to complete the side quests of the tutorial dungeon. Side quests like exploring this flying machine in what looks like the plane of air to recover the chaos blade of our brother Sarevok. Even as early as this, an attentive player will find some of the better items in the game. And there is a new companion right here in the tutorial dungeon.
So there is sanity in all this madness.
Yoshimo is a bounty hunter from the distant Karatur. This is when we are introduced to the idea of kits. Bounty hunter is a kit or a variant of the thief class. Bounty hunters are not quite as skilled at thievery, but they can place advanced traps, which are quite powerful. It will be a while before we learn anything concrete about our host, his private life and his motives. For now, all we can do is guess, piecing things together from the clues in the environment. He keeps dryads as pleasure slaves. Clearly, he is not above indulging in earthly comforts. One of the creatures preserved in a jar describes itself as a loyal servant and friend to its master. Immortality was meant to be its reward for faithful service, but it looks like the master simply forgot about the creature. And so Vashar escapes the compound. Looks like it was attacked by some sort of a criminal organization. I suppose we owe them our freedom, and the battle is still going strong outside.
So, godchild, you have escaped.
You're not going to torture us any longer.
This cutscene is somewhat incoherent. Grey sprites on a grey background, unfamiliar characters and magic stuff flying everywhere. But stick around, important plot things are happening.
This is an unsanctioned use of magical energy. All involved will be held. This disturbance is over.
Must I be interrupted at every turn?
The Cowled Wizards enforce strict laws that limit the use of arcane magic throughout the nation of Amn. Unlicensed spellcasters, no matter how powerful, are to be detained and put into mage jail.
Your pathetic magics are useless. Let this end.
Even if we fall, our numbers are many. You will be overwhelmed.
You bore me, mageling. You may take me in, but you will take the girl as well.
What? No. I've done nothing wrong. Help me, please.
They have arrested the mage who captured us, and they have also taken Imoen, who impulsively cast a spell in self-defense. Our sister is now in government custody, and Vashar will spend half of the game trying to get her back. So, where are we? This is Wokin's Promenade, the merchant district of Athkatla. But then again, every district is a merchant district in the city of coin. Everything is for sale in Athkatla, even government secrets, especially government secrets. This man, Galen Bale, says that powerful people have been monitoring the situation. They can help us get to our sister. The price of their assistance is 20,000 gold. That's a lot of money. But thankfully, there is a whole world of opportunity out there. All one has to do is let Liberty's Maiden work through you. And speaking of, guess what time it is? It's time to say thank you to this video sponsor. Infinity Hexadome Tactics is a PvP strategy game inspired by the sensational XCOM and Into the Breach. Every mouse click matters in Hexadome. Combat is about decisive action, not grinding down health bars. Positioning, builds, and unit interactions are everything. Hexadome is based on the tabletop game Aristeia from the Infinity Universe. The public demo is available on Steam right now, featuring online PvP and AI-controlled bots. The full release is planned for 2026 and will include a single-player campaign. The developers put a lot of effort into balancing the game, and there is an active Discord community. That's Hexadome Tactics. Check out the demo and wishlist it on Steam. The Copper Coronet is an establishment in the heart of the city's slums. This will be the temporary office of the private security company, the Coven Host. Chief Executive, yours truly. We should hire additional employees. Let's see, what about you?
Anyone willing to hear my plea? Anyone?
Candidate 1. Nalia is a privileged aristocrat who became this universe equivalent of a socialist. Her castle has been attacked by trolls and she's gathering an adventuring party to lift the siege. She's our replacement for Imoen, a thief mage dual class. Her thieving skills aren't as good, but that's not a huge problem for us, with Vashar being a thief herself. Approved. Candidate 2.
Drink hail!
Meet Korgan Bloodaxe, a creatively named chaotic evil dwarf berserker.
I've killed for less.
Korgan is physically strong, has a lot of HP and grand mastery in axes. His special ability makes him temporarily immune to crowd control, which is very important in this. Approved. Candidate 3.
Fair lady, what brings you to this cesspool of corruption?
Anomen Delrin is a human fighter dual class to a cleric. He is a member of the most noble order of the Radiant Heart, although he is only a squire. The problem with Anomen is that his weapon proficiencies are very poorly invested, making the fighter levels something of a waste. He is still a usable character with high strength. Anno is special for being a romance candidate for a woman protagonist, and for being generally unpleasant to be around. He's a mean-spirited kind of nice guy. This is not how a romanceable character is usually written. I like it. Approved. Anyways, there is an adventure waiting for us right here at the Copper Coronet. An inmate in this privately owned jail at the back of the inn is spreading conspiracy theories that this place is owned by slavers, supposedly. Of course, we report him to the local authority, who do order his execution, as is their legal right. There is also a dungeon underneath the inn. We fight a giant shroom and get a talking sword. In another game, this would be the main event, but this is Baldur's Gates 2, so it's barely a footnote. The Copper Coronet works as a kind of a pseudo-hub. Some party members, though not all, will hang out here after being dismissed. Our first day in the City of Coin was very productive. I wonder how our sister is doing.
These are the prisoners from the disturbance at Joaquin's Promenade.
What is known?
This is when we learn his name.
The mage is John Irenicus. The girl is Imoen.
I didn't do anything. He did it all. I had...
Silence, child. Allow the fool to make his judgment.
Why was this man not gagged? Did he not slay 4 of you?
We dared not approach.
Regardless, in the end, he came willingly.
What should be done with them, sir?
They are deviants. Let them rot in Spellhold.
Sometimes, while exploring the city, the party will get into random encounters. It's a feature in the game, although this specific encounter is scripted and is only pretending to be random. The party saves a wounded man from a group of bandits. He begs us to take him to his friends, a building in the Docks district. This is how we come into contact with a secret society known as the Harpers. This is an older version of the organization, not quite the same Harpers you met in Baldur's Gate 3. They are devoted to keeping balance by preventing both evil and good factions from gaining too much power. The Harpers are heavily involved in Jaheira's personal storyline, since she's one of their members. Some days later, Jaheira gets summoned back to the stronghold for some Harper business, leaving us short a party member. I can't believe I'm saying this, but we are gonna have to take the hamster guy, who escaped the tutorial dungeon and is waiting for us in the Coronet.
Minsk and Boo stand ready.
Minsk, chaotic good human ranger, points in longbows, capable of using 2-handers or 2 weapons. Whatever, good enough for government work. Approved. As agreed, the group travels to Diarni's Hold, Nalia's family castle. The Hold is a complex area with many different paths for navigating through it. It's populated by all sorts of monsters, with the Yuan Ti filling the spellcasting role. The standout area is the Golem Room. If you take artifacts from the statues here, the golems come to life. The big one is far too strong for us right now, so I cast Haste, grab the treasure, and run for it. Another highlight is the Forge, which lets us assemble the +3 Flail of Ages. It deals multiple damage types, which is perfect for trolls, since they can only be finished off with fire or acid. So Nalia's father is dead, and Castle Arnisov is in ruins. That's tough. But look at the bright side. Nothing is preventing her from starting a podcast now. We need a real thief. Around this time, I dual-classed Vashar into a mage. This temporarily disabled her rogue skills. We need someone to handle sophisticated traps and locks.
It seems that I'm once again out of the black market.
Currently under investigation by the Emnian Revenue and Taxation Board, Jansen is a chaotic neutral gnome, a business owner, an inventor, and a mage-thief multiclass. He owns a pile of gadgets, the most important being his crossbow, if you can call it that. It fires both bolts and concussion grenades. As his special ability, Jan can craft 5 of those grenades per day. An excellent companion with a ton of utility, Jan is also one of the more eccentric and talkative characters in Baldur's Gate 2, famous for his wild, exaggerated stories. 'Tis truly an adventure for the weak-willed. I fought campaigns against the Hildnasher giants and slew 20 of the foul beasts. Did I ever tell you the tale of the lobotomized orc, my good knight Anomen? You have not, and I don't wish to hear. There was once a heavily brain-damaged orc called Anno. Jan tells a story about how Anno stumbled upon a corpse of an evil giant, and then told everyone at the Pooh village that it was he who had slain the monster. I warn you, gnome! But the giant's brother heard about his sibling's demise. He found Anno and then tied a porcupine to the orc's head and proceeded to clean his latrine with this improvised orc brush. I will suffer no insults from you. Calm yourself. There was no insult. It was merely a parable told to me by my dear departed mother. I shall not forget this gnome. Your blood will flow yet. Whenever you wish to try it, Anno. There have been a string of recent deaths in the nearby Umar Hills, leaving the locals terrified. Vale is a small village in the Umar Hills, and despite its modest size, this area has quite a few side quests, and it holds the keys to 2-player strongholds. But what I'm really interested in are the ruins, the crumbling ancient temple that is almost certainly tied to the disappearances. It's a classic dungeon. Traps, puzzles, treasure, and a boss at the end.
I beg your assistance in this evil place.
Meet our newest companion, a halfling adventurer Mazzy, imprisoned by the Shade Lord. The racist rules of the 2nd edition prevent Mazzy from taking the paladin class, so she's technically a fighter with a set of paladin-like abilities illegally added through house rules. A pleasant character to have around, because being a ranged specialist, Mazzy requires almost no micromanagement. And Korgan weirdly likes her. I noticed that gameplay guides for this game tend to exaggerate just how severe party compatibility issues really are. If 2 companions start fighting, most of the time you can just reload, and chances are that the dialogue that triggered the conflict simply won't fire again. Mixing differently aligned characters in the same group can lead to interesting interactions. In truth, when the Order sees my worth, I'll no longer need to travel with lowly folk such as you, halfling. It does not befit an aspiring knight to speak in such manner. Hold your tongue lest I cut it from your cursed mouth. I say only what a paladin would say in my place. Your implication is correct. You are no paladin, nor shall you ever be one. Learn your place. The most powerful of Shade Lord's servants is the dragon Athkatla. The AI is clever enough to dispel, or rather to death spell, your monster summons before starting a fight. The Shadow Dragon can create a poison cloud and drain levels, and that is in addition to the normal dragon arsenal: crowd control, a breath attack, and a wing attack. Fortunately, Athkatla has weaknesses that slow magic resistance and relatively modest amount of HP. Vashar's and Jan's basic magic missiles do a lot of damage. I'm impressed by how useful Vashar is in this battle, despite being a novice mage. But in the end, Athkatla falls not to a spell, but to a single crossbow bolt from Jan. He'll be telling this story for years, and absolutely no one will believe him. The dragon isn't actually the final boss of the ruins. It's the Shade Lord. I must say, I've done this quest like a dozen times over the years, and I remember nothing about who he is, or what he wants, or why he's threatening the citizens of Vale. But you know what? I don't care. I'm doing this for sport and money. And so the Shadow Veil has fallen, and the light once again...
I do wish to apologize for so abruptly.
Anomen has this extraordinary ability to drain the life out of a moment. He initiated a romance with Vashar a while ago, and I've been letting him be our beta orbiter because the party needs his skill set. But he's just so unbearably dull and self-important that I've been mostly just clicking through his dialogue, and that doesn't seem to slow him down at all. Let's go home. The next day, Jaheira shows up at the Coronet and tells Vashar that we are needed at the Harper hold. I wonder if the city authorities even realize that they have a cell of political extremists hiding right here in plain sight. Jaheira, my dear, it's good to see you. The Harper leader Galvary is concerned that catastrophic violence seems to follow us wherever we go, even when we are not directly involved. That's why you are here. An interview. As a child of Bhaal, do you have violent thoughts? That's a loaded question. Violence is part of our world. It's unavoidable to some extent. Finds that violence is unavoidable. Certainly to be expected in a creature such as you. That's not what she meant, Galvary. Deception is woven into her very being, Jaheira. Can you comprehend the thoughts of an Illithid or a beholder? Your Vashar Vo is akin to these. What is your favorite color? Gray? Gray! Gray as despair and entropy. Well, that settles it. The verdict is imprisonment. The spell, imprisonment, will be locked inside a small container placed a few leagues under the earth. Quite peaceful. So what are we dealing with? 2 spellcasters, Galvary with a bow, an assassin, and a frontline fighter. We'll open with some monster summoning spells and hitting them with Jaheira's insect swarm to shut down the mages. Korgan chops through the enemies while Anomen is keeping him alive. So Galvary is defeated, but we are not done. Prior to the battle, I pre-buffed on the city exterior map, again forgetting where we were. You are unlicensed. This is an unsanctioned use of magical energy. A cowled hit squad. Wizard battles are another sports car feature. Let's break it down. A mage is, by nature, a fragile creature. The easiest way to kill one is simply by hitting them very hard in the face. Mages are well aware of this fact, so they rely on defensive spells that grant physical protections. That's stone skin, protection from weapons, and the like. To make a mage vulnerable to melee, we first have to dispel those protections. But mages know that too, so they use anti-magic defenses such as Globe of Invulnerability, Spell Trap, and similar barriers. This is in addition to other complications, such as built-in elemental resistances, weapon immunities, invisibility, and magic resistance. There are some outside-the-box way of dealing with mages. You can overwhelm them with waves of summoned trash mobs. You can sneak in and assassinate them with a stealthed rogue before they activate their defenses. Or you can just do this. Leave the area. Their spell protections are timed. They will expire after a few rounds. This won't be the last time we hear of the Cowled Wizards. Or the Harpers. Our friend Yoshimo is an independent operator, unaffiliated with local criminals. Out of courtesy, we announced our presence to Renal Bloodscalp, the man in charge of one of the Shadow Thief guildhalls in the city. Renal hired us to spy on another Shadow Thief boss, whom he suspects of betrayal. This is the Traitors Guildhall. They have a training room for thieves to practice their skills. Infinity Engine ASMR. The suspected traitor Mayvar gives us a couple of introductory jobs, and then sends us off to meet his lieutenant.
Greetings, I am Edwin Odesseron. You Simians may refer to me merely as Sir, if you prefer a less syllable-intensive workout.
Edwin is a lawful evil specialist wizard from a faraway country. We killed a lot of people together. The past hardly matters. He has a unique amulet that provides extra spell slots, letting Edwin unleash a truly disgusting number of spells. With 3 wizards in the party, the dramatic showdown against the traitor Mayvar played out like this. Presented without comment. Edwin's companion quest takes us to the Graveyard District.
I best be paid well for this.
The outer crypts look like your standard Sword Coast dungeon, but the deeper levels take on a strange, ancient Egyptian aesthetic. Soothsayers and conjurers whisper in hushed tones about an artifact lost to antiquity, but not so lost to a perceptive mage. The Nether Scroll is guarded by a senile Lich, who uses only a fraction of a typical Lich arsenal, so he isn't very difficult to defeat. Nether Scrolls deal with fundamental magical theory. In a few days, Edwin will decipher a part of the writing and gain a permanent bonus to saving throws and lore. The host gathers at the Coronet. Edwin and Minsk reminisce about the good old days in Baldur's Gate and remember the Fallen. She was a time-worn and weather-beaten bar whore, the lowest class of spent rubbish. The Red Wizard risks great harm. Not likely, cretin. Edwin, you have a manner that makes us all feel beautiful and appreciated. You know, it's been a while since we had an update on Irenicus and Imoen.
The girl they brought in, she's a cute one, isn't she?
This is Spellhold, an insane asylum for the magically deviant.
What was that sound?
You two, the new prisoner. He's escaped.
What? When? Where is he?
He's in the lower... Gods, no. He comes. He's here.
I cannot be caged. I cannot be controlled.
He's violating all sorts of spellcasting rules here, but he don't care.
Die, ever pathetic, ever foolish.
A servant of the Delrin household brings terrible news. Anomen's sister, Moira, has been murdered, allegedly by Serk Farad, a Kalishite merchant and a long-standing rival of Lord Delrin. Anomen asks for our counsel. Do we seek justice through law, or do we take matters into our own hands? The first option leads to genuine character development for Anomen, eventually making him a better person, and the second, the one we'll take, breaks a barely functional man even further. The luxurious estate of the Farad family is located in the Bridge district. The merchant mocks the Delrins for their inability to make money in the city of coin. Anomen gets super mad and kills Serk's daughter.
Here to dance.
And then most of the rest of his family. Now, we wait for the inevitable consequences. Meanwhile, Edwin has been studying magical theory. Another revelation in our Nether Scroll. A spell of transformation, both basic and sophisticated. It's not unlike the transformation of mage to lich, but it must be more, much more. Edwin turned himself into a woman.
This is bad.
You must find a way to cure this malignant ill. The effect is permanent. Mechanically, Edwina is still the same person. What changes is voice acting and companion interactions. Hey, Edwina, I shall be your champion at the next tournament, if only you give me a piece of your dress to adorn my shield. My condition draws fools like flies to honey. Fair Edwina, I am truly bereft of your non-acceptance. It is tragic when a knight has no fair maiden to moon over. Anno seems to be in a good mood.
If I must live like this, your life shall be as much a hell as mine.
And this was just the beginning of her troubles. Some form of a new religious cult has been formed in the city, centered on a god called the Unseeing Eye. A priest whose eyes were missing spoke to a crowd, calling on them to shed their false sight and join in the worship of this new god. The vanilla Baldur's Gate 2 doesn't have a proper mega dungeon, but the Unseeing Eye quest comes close to filling that role. Level 1, we invade the fecal waters, the city sewer. Level 2, we explore the ancient tunnels, and then the base of the cult, human dwellings built inside a Zerg hive. Level 3, the ruins of an even older civilization. This is our first meeting with powerful and annoying beholder enemies. They fire energy blasts that do a ton of damage and apply debilitating status effects. The structure ahead is a temple of a Monator. We explored a temple of the same forgotten god back in Umar Hills. Inside, there is a clever puzzle fight against a demon that is sustained by hatred, so the only way of killing it is by using healing spells. Level 4. Below the cult base, there is a small undead settlement. This is like the hit game Planetary Tournament. Level 5. Underneath that, there is an actual Zerg hive where the beholders live. Following the guidance of an avatar of a forgotten deity, Vashar reassembles an ancient weapon known as the Rift device. And then the beholder god shows up. According to the wiki, it's supposed to spam high-level spells, but I was unable to independently verify because the Rift device weakens it so much it dies almost instantly. Congratulations to Anomen and the Flail of Ages for securing the kill. He is not even spec'd in flails. But neither the ancient technology nor the Beholder God is the real power in the tunnels beneath Athkatla. This is Keldorn, a lawful good paladin with the Inquisitor kit, one of the most overpowered classes in the game. Like, what were they thinking? Remember the spell battle theory? Physical protections, spell mantles, layered defenses? All of that is meaningless once an Inquisitor shows up. They possess an extra strong dispel magic ability that strips every protection of a mage as easily as clapping your hands. Watch us effortlessly humiliate a Lich, one of the deadliest enemies in the game. Since mage duels are such a central feature of Baldur's Gate 2, and using an Inquisitor basically trivializes them, I recommend simply never taking Keldorn unless you are really struggling. Back on the surface, we run into a Thayan spooked garden, who is looking for someone named Edwin. That's probably just a coincidence. It's got to be a common name in Thay. Edwina, would you like me to let out the seams on your robe? I am handy with a needle. You do have a more, bulk in the upper chest area. Silence, you chauvinist pig! What am I saying? I meant to say idiot! A ranking Cowled Wizard contacted us, contacted Korgan actually, with a job offer. There is a bounty on a dangerous criminal who killed several of their number. Veligar Korthala claims that the wizards are after him because the Korthala blood is the key to unlocking the Planar Sphere, the spaceship in the Athkatlan slums. For daring to suggest that we might back out of a legal contract, Mr. Korthala was eliminated on the spot. His blood is the key. I wonder if he meant that literally. He did. So we are inside the machine. One of the rooms is storage. The other one has a magic pool displaying a bird's-eye view of Athkatla. I wonder where this leads. Uh-oh. What did I just... You have initiated planar travel. You may not leave the sphere until the Master allows it.
You are welcome in my sight.
In the next room, we are hailed by the Knights of Solamia. They are guests from Dragonlance, a sister setting to the Forgotten Realms. Then we walk into a room full of evil halflings, passengers from Dark Sun, perhaps. Clearly, this ship has been making stops. The sphere is much larger on the inside. It's a maze of stolen chunks of other worlds, kidnapped ecosystems spliced together with magical machinery. I've never seen anything like this. The sphere is commanded by Levo Korthala, the necromancer. He's been trapped inside for years. A wizard battle. Keldorn, do your thing. I think the point is made. An Inquisitor turns mage fights into a non-game. I will stop using Keldorn after this quest. The evil presence that possessed Lavok vanishes, and in his moment of lucidity, he explains how to return the sphere to the Prime. We'll have to explore the plane we've landed on, a layer of Beator by the look of it, a devil world. This is actually super convenient because the devil intestines are what the ship uses as fuel. I wish there was more planar exploration, but I get that the game isn't about that. Lavok has a final request. He wants to see the skies of his homeland before he dies. When we carry him outside, it happens to be night in Athkatla. Vashar is a mage, and is thus qualified to take control of the planar ship, so Lavok makes us its master and dies. What a weekend. Let's go to the Coronet. Finally, peace and quiet. Edwin. The guise as a woman reeks of shabby amateur glamours. I am no Edwin. He sounds like a worthy mage of distinction, and I am weaker, having not made his acquaintance. The bounty hunter changes our friend back to his original state.
Cured of my wretched condition. The garden, I owe you my health, wealth, and well-being. I am reborn.
It is time for a proper payment to the witnesses to my shame. It is time for you to die. And with that, Edwin's extravagant gender adventure is concluded. Will he learn some kind of a lesson? No, he will not. In the center of the multiverse is the city of Sigil. A troupe of actors from Sigil, led by one Raylis Shy, performed an unfortunate satirical play. The fact that the author insisted on remaining anonymous should have been enough of a warning. The play was called A Comedy of Terrors. It was a story about a romance between two planar beings. Turns out one of these beings was a parody of Duke Rowan. And you don't mock the factol of the fated and get away with it. Within hours, the troupe was forced to flee to the prime material plane. We were set up. We performed on the assumption that the play was fiction.
This sparrow is ready to fly.
We learn all this when we rescue the theater actor Dalis from an evil wizard. Dalis is a tiefling, a being of mixed mortal and fiendish blood. The player cannot be a tiefling, so this companion is special. His class, Blade, is a melee-oriented variant of the Bard. Dalis does a bit of everything. He joins the opening spell barrage and then goes into melee. Unfortunately, we didn't get to know him all that well. Duke Rowan's bounty hunters arrived, and our new friends were dragged off by planar law enforcement.
I shall go forth at your command.
On the other side of the portal is the planar prison. It's just one map, but it has a few unique features not seen anywhere else, like walking across these fleshy vents teleports you to various cells. This one holds a group of Githyanki. A neat thing about Baldur's Gate 2 is that besides reusing the sprites from the first game and adding plenty of its own, it also includes a lot of assets from Icewind Dale. These usually have more detail and smoother animations. And thanks for not turning the Icewind Dale final boss into a generic enemy. I know that took restraint. The dungeon is not very hard and the loot is great. Miss Raylis, I cannot come with you. Not this time. Raylis kept something from him. There was no mystery writer of our play. I wrote A Comedy of Terrors. I brought all of this upon us. I know. I can't stand seeing all these taverns around the city. They exist simply to drain the poorer classes of their money and throw them into such a stupor that they can't even realize their oppression. Drink is to the poor what theater is to the rich. A chance to play out fantasies that shall never come true. Meanwhile, in Spellhold.
Awaken, child. It is time for another test.
Our sister Imoen has the same Bhaal heritage we do. Today is the day. Anomen is summoned to the Order of the Radiant Heart. It's time for him to become a proper knight. The Heart has been responsible for some of the most heinous crimes against humanity. Their intolerance against those who are not of a civilized species is racism at its worst. I guess Edwin is a civil rights activist now. Let's do this. Anomen Delrin, son of Kor and Moirala, do you stand before me, pledged to the service of justice? If he is accepted into the Order, Anomen gets a permanent stat boost, is formally renamed Sir Anomen, and his dialogue changes to reflect him maturing. The judgment is clear. You have not satisfied our requirements. You are cast out from this Order. You cannot do this. You have slain a man in revenge. You have committed an unforgivable sin. Consider yourself lucky to be able to leave with your life. You bastard! I have slaved away for you all these years, and this is the thanks I get? I spit at your feet, fool! Leave. Do as the prelate suggests. You have worn out your welcome.
All my life I've slaved for the Order, and now I am cast aside like garbage!
Anno is unstable. If we pick a wrong dialogue option, he will attack the party. You know what? Maybe a visit to a circus will cheer him up. Tickets on me. Oh, it's another one of those buildings that are bigger on the inside. Clearly, there is illusion magic at work here.
Who are you? Oh, whoever you are, you must flee this place at once.
The ogre is actually an elf named Aerie, lawful good cleric mage multiclass. If the illusion is dispelled, she could join the party. Aerie is a romance option for a male protagonist. The romance eventually results in a child, which is added to your inventory. If Hyrdalis is around, the relationship can lead to a love triangle. These are certainly ideas in a video game, but we will never learn these ideas because Vashar ordered the ogre's swift execution.
Back them, my shadows!
The circus was taken over by a renegade illusionist who wanted so desperately to appear bigger than he really was.
This isn't what was supposed to happen. This isn't what was promised to me.
We live in a society. There is a lesson to be learned from this, Anomen. Shut up! You have never known a day of hardship. I have listened to your pompous lessons all my life, and it's gotten me nowhere. Anomen, I am on your side. I wish to be your friend and help you turn your life around. There is nothing wrong with my life that hasn't been caused by your ilk. This is an example of a conversation you reload, because they do start a fight afterwards. It turns out the Shadow Thieves aren't the only game in town anymore. A rival guild, led by the vampire Bodhi, contacted us. They claim they can find Imoen for a much lower price. An excellent deal. Seize the opportunity, Vashar Vo, lest the fickle woman change her mind. Benefits include not working with the thieves, and access to a tomb filled with vampires and their enthralled servants. I'm not actually sure what the other benefits are supposed to be. The vampires tell us that we can rest here, but we can rest in many places. I suppose the real draw of siding with Bodhi is getting to do her quest line.
A skullbreaker!
Our target is Aaron Linvale, the leader of the Shadow Thieves and one of the most powerful individuals in the city. This is a very cool dungeon you don't get to fully experience unless you side with the vampires. Here are the highlights. A thief training area with suspended walkways and guillotines. Another training room with fake buildings, where stepping inside triggers a proximity ambush. And this section with rotating spiked walkways and traps. Pressing the button at the end gives us access to Aaron Linvale's lair.
The bitch Bodhi would have the courage to...
Since I had no idea what was waiting for us inside, only that they were guards and at least 2 spellcasters, my plan was to flood the room with weak summons to make them waste their spells. I also had Anomen summon a demon, but without protection from evil, it immediately turned on the party, and we had to kill it. Not the proudest moment for the host. Fortunately, the absurdly overpowered crowd control spells saved the day. Aaron Linvale, much like Irenicus, managed to maintain a high standard of living in the middle of a sewer. Irenicus is the only family that I have. We have survived through different means, but he is, for all intents and purposes, my brother. Bodhi suggests that the experiments Irenicus performed on us, well, it was all just a huge misunderstanding. Spellhold, the asylum where John and Imoen are imprisoned, is located on an island in the Sea of Swords. How do we get there? Well, by ship, of course. The flamboyant Saemon Havarian is a mercenary captain working for Bodhi. It's important to choose the best, or at least the most fun companions for the adventure ahead, because it will be a very long time before we return to Athkatla and the Coronet. The journey was uneventful, and if there were other ships on the same course, they must have kept a discreet distance. And soon, there is a sizable island on the horizon. Saemon gives us a tour of Brynlaw. It used to be a small fishing port, but now it's an outlaw heaven. Its economy runs on piracy and prostitution. I love the look of this place, but we won't be staying long. There is only one side quest in Brynlaw, which is probably for the best because the main plot is about to pick up the pace.
This is not a prison, but an institution of healing.
Once we reach the Spellhold, we are immediately imprisoned by Irenicus, who is pretending to be the facility director. There is no actual need for him to pretend. Old Irenicus is being whimsical.
It is as I predicted.
What happens next depends on whether Yoshimo came with us or not. If he did, he is revealed as a traitor, working for Irenicus, although unwillingly. Back on the ship, Yoshimo poisoned our food, making our capture possible. His betrayal would have landed much harder if his class was more useful, perhaps a dual-classed fighter-thief specializing in katanas, with the special trap ability added via house rules. But if Yoshimo wasn't with the party, he simply dies off-screen, and Saemon Havarian is the one who drugged us. Fuck my shitty Bhaal Femcel life. Woke up as a test subject in an evil wizard's lab again. Bodhi stands beside her brother. Getting us into Spellhold was always their plan. Irenicus steals our soul, just like he stole Imoen's. We lose our Bhaal powers. Bodhi, remove this nothing, and Imoen as well. We are restored at their expense and need them no longer. Farewell, child of Bhaal, we shall not meet again. We finally rejoin with our sister in the dungeons beneath the Spellhold. This place seems to have been designed to test the minds of the inmates. Now, this is the hunting grounds for Bodhi the Vampire. Another thing Baldur's Gate 2 does really well is puzzles and riddles. There are many puzzles in this game and none of them are truly difficult, but they're just difficult enough to make you feel clever for solving them. Overall, a good dungeon, and mapping it is fun. Here are the highlights. A mysterious cobalt crystal. Curious door design. This machine that can make a magical item out of special currency you find on the level. I prefer getting a pair of boots of speed. Very good for melee characters.
But just couldn't bear to see you leave.
Body hunts us the way we once hunted the beasts of the Sword Coast. Well, since this is unavoidable, tell you what, let me get into something more comfortable. This shape is called the Slayer. I cannot be caged. I cannot be controlled.
A creature of pure death and darkest shadow.
Body gets scared and flees. These are Vashar's hunting grounds now. Real talk. Is Irenicus a charlatan? He said that we are a nothing, but being soulless doesn't seem to have any impact on dialogue, and our sister is still her usual cheerful self. He stole our Bhaal essence, but evidently we had some to spare. Are souls even real? The Slayer form is strong, but using it costs reputation points, and losing reputation will eventually cause the good aligned companions to leave the party. Time for a boss fight.
Irenicus?
Vashar gathers the asylum's other inmates and convinces them to attack the mad scientist together, although convinces is generous because it barely takes any effort.
I did not expect this in the least, so dangerously risky it is.
Tyrannicus has a good reason to be afraid. One of the mages fires off pierce magic to strip his defenses. Korgan instantly gets Irenicus down to very low health. And if not for the time stop spell cast by one of our allies, the whole fight would have lasted seconds. Once Irenicus is nearly dead, he teleports away, escaping into the Underdark. We can follow him through this portal here, but honestly, why do I care about the quack Irenicus? We clearly still possess Bhaal's essence, so he didn't actually take anything of value. Let's go back to Athkatla. Saemon makes up for his earlier betrayal by giving us a gift, a silver sword, a treasure from the astral plane. He knows how to win me over. Goodbye, Brynlaw. The seas are calm, but the voyage is tense, and Saemon spends much of his time below decks. It is almost as if he expects something bad to happen, and that by avoiding Vashar, he can escape its influence. On the fourth day, a ship is spotted to the east. Saemon orders a change of course, but the winds are against us. We are in trouble. The Githyanki are planar travelers, very sentimental about their silver swords. They want it back. Saemon should have just thrown the thing overboard, but he got greedy, probably thought he could reclaim it from us later. And things get even worse when the third group boards the ship. The Sehwagin, humanoid fish people from the deep. The fight is unwinnable. It's basically an interactive cutscene. We are overwhelmed and tossed overboard. The last thing we see before losing consciousness is Saemon Havarian fleeing the scene through magical means. Welcome to the City of Caverns, a majestic Sehwagin settlement below water. The priestess casts a spell to make us understand the fish language. The city is embroiled in a civil war between King Ixilthacol and Prince Villinati. Why do those names sound like they come from different species? The craftsmanship here is impressive, especially considering how unsophisticated the current inhabitants seem to be. This is like a post-apocalyptic society, built atop of something greater. Anyway, the fish people are just an appetizer. You see that hole in the ground? The Lightless Lands, the night below, the Underdark, a vast network of tunnels and caverns stretching beneath the surface of Faerun.
things go well on the surface. The temple of their false god has been defiled.
I am pleased. My revenge will soon come.
John is allied with the dark elves of Natha.
Our first prisoners arrive, Matron Mother.
Their presence sickens me. Kill them.
Perhaps it would be better to interrogate them first.
Journalist, what are you doing with these monsters? You are one of...
An odd way to question Irenicus. Did you not like his tone?
He is hiding something. The final chapters are about elf geopolitics. The Underdark isn't a dungeon, it's a world. The subterranean realm has just as many social encounters as combat ones. This boxy thing is a mage prison. At this stage of the game, mages tend to follow the same playbook. First, they conjure their spell defenses. Then, they will cast Time Stop. This is very hard to prevent. While time is frozen, they will unload crowd control spells, sometimes a dispel, and usually a big nuke. So we survived the onslaught, and now it's our turn. This encounter is a good showcase of one of this game's most important design improvements. In Baldur's Gate 1, most enemies had no way to deal with kiting. Even the expansion's final boss could be trivialized simply by running around it in circles. The sequel addresses this by focusing on spellcaster battles. You can't outrun a time stop, and by equipping your opponents with powerful ranged attacks. And what is this place? Feels like we are inside a starship. We have foolishly walked into a Mind Flayer enclave. The host is enslaved by the Illithid, and we have to fight in the pit for their amusement. In a twist of fate, the cell next to ours holds the very Githyanki crew that boarded Saemon Havarian's ship. We have no choice but to work together to escape. Illithids are another difficulty spike. Their physical attacks drain 5 points of intelligence on hit. A character dies when any ability score drops below 1, so a Mind Flayer can kill a low intelligence person in just 2 attacks. There are, of course, ways to counter Illithids. Protective cleric spells, summons that lack brains to be drained, such as animated swords. But our ultimate weapon is Korgan. His Enrage ability makes him immune to some of the Mind Flayer's attacks, although not all. Notice how different the Illithid aesthetic is between Baldur's Gate 2 and 3. I think in 2 they went with the mechanical look, because Beholder Hives already filled the organic Zerg Hive niche.
And later I'll split your gut open.
The Underdark contains what might be my favorite quest chain in the series. John Irenicus stole the eggs of the silver dragon Adalon. He traded them to the Drow of Natha. Adalon casts a spell that makes the party look like dark elves. Now we can infiltrate their society to recover the eggs or, do whatever we want. Natha means the first. It was near this very spot that the Drow first descended into the Underdark so long ago. There is so much to do here. Let's take a look around. Here is a Githyanki crew and their Spelljammer ship, which is a type of vessel that can travel into the Sea of Night or into the other planes of existence. A Drow pirate in another Spelljammer invites us to join his crew. Unfortunately, there is no option of saying yes. Here is an Aboleth diplomat floating in a tank. It's an alien from the far realm. Turning ourselves into Drow makes the surfacers, like this adventuring party, attack us on sight. The Drow merchants have an excellent selection. It's the perfect moment to identify all the high-end gear we looted and double-check our spells and ammunition. We have to prepare for some of the hardest battles in the game. And of course, there is a tavern. I once knew a red mage of Thay who dreamed of lichdom someday. He said he knew how to do it, but still managed to screw it up in the funniest way. Bard, my considered and correct opinion of actors is this. You are irresponsible, irrational, and incapable of adult emotion without first reducing it to some banal personal, material, or sexual credo. A critic is a legless man who teaches running to the fleet of foot. Her soul might have been lost, but Vashar is becoming herself in every way that actually matters. Around this time, our mage level overtakes our assassin levels. By the convoluted logic of the 2nd edition dual classing, this means that we get all our thief abilities back. We can now cast spells and use our assassin powers. Imoen's class combination is similar. Runs in the family, I guess. The Drow Tavern has not one, but 2 combat arenas. We get to test Vashar's skills by dismembering Drow mages, all of them male. The Dark Elf Society is a matriarchy, and Moids hold very low status. For a man, there are only 2 viable paths to a successful career. That's by sleeping with powerful women, or by becoming a mage. As a woman, Vashar gets to verbally abuse male elves, and they can't really do anything about it. Another fun feature of Natha is that most quests here are timed. When the matriarch gives you instructions, you carry them out without delay. After much manipulation and backstabbing, we eventually learn why the Drow needed the Silver Dragon's eggs. To offer them as a tribute to a powerful demon that would join the invasion of the surface world. There are clever ways of turning the demon against the Drow, but I prefer simply to kill it. Defeating powerful creatures is good for our brand. It seems to be nearly immune to weapons, so my strategy was to have our mages lower its magic resistance, and then bombard it with massive amounts of attack spells. Success! But as you can see, the demon dispelled our disguise. That's just as well. I'm a little homesick. Back in Athkatla, there is a quest to collect the blood of a silver dragon to create a suit of armor made from human skin. But I'm not doing that. We are the Coven Host, a private security company. I'm not gonna show up at the Temple of Helm wearing human flesh. No, the reason we're gonna kill Eidolon is sport. Standard anti-dragon doctrine goes something like this. First, you lower the creature's magic resistance, then you reduce its saving throws, and finally, you disable it with a crowd control spell. That was the plan, but then I realized that unlike the demon, this thing can be reliably hit in melee. So why overcomplicate things? The dragon has a unique frost attack that wiped the party several times. But in the end, the host prevails. And so the dragon, and most things in this corner of the Underdark, are dead. You know, the more I think about it, the more I realize that the Harper Galvery was correct in his analysis, and in fact, did nothing wrong. But it's not the time to get philosophical. We need to get to the surface, which is this way. We emerge in the middle of a war zone. The Drow are fighting an army of surface elves. We are in the Kingdom of Tether, south of Amn. This is Weldeath, the largest forest in the lands of Intrigue. The commander of the surface elves briefs us on the situation. The traitor Irenicus and his forces have taken the elven city of Suldanesselar. Yes, the elven theme wasn't explored much at all in this game until the Underdark, but now it's just elves, elves, elves. That said, this doesn't come completely out of nowhere. Remember the green underground garden in the tutorial dungeon? And the decor of Irenicus' private chambers? It's not quite Amnian, is it? John Irenicus is an elf. That's an embarrassing thing to be. I would be hiding it too. Suldanesselar is concealed by powerful magic. The artifact that can reveal the city's location is currently in the possession of Bodhi's vampire coven. I know where to go. On our way to Athkatla, we run into a curious group of adventurers.
I have no desire to keep traveling about in circles.
This is another fake, random encounter. Meet Drizzt, along with his future wife Catti Bree, and a party that's quite strong. Drizzt is a popular character from the Forgotten Realms books. We actually did kill him once before, but he doesn't remember that since the consequences of your actions don't carry over from Baldur's Gate 1 to the sequel. Let's see his equipment. Mithril chainmail, spider silk enforcement, as strong as a full plate. Scimitar icing death, thermal displacement enchantment, first generation. Nice. Vashar opens with a sequencer, a spell that contains smaller spells inside. In this case, it's filled with fireballs. Edwin and Jan follow up with chaos spells. That's our ace in the hole, a crowd control sorcery so powerful, I usually avoid using it. Even so, we take a lot of damage. I evacuate the wounded, heal up, and recommit. Watch out, Catti Bree! Behind you! The legendary hero falls to Korgan, Employee of the Year. I'm thinking about making Korgan my son. I need a drink. Listen carefully, mage. I noticed you launched your spells in battle without first making sure none of us are in the way. If you hurt anyone, I will kill you. No doubt my kneecaps are in some danger. Halfling, here you stand living, thanks to the use of my magic. You threaten us with your carelessness. Quite a mouthful for one of the servant race. Begone! Athkatla. A lot of things changed, a lot of things stayed the same. It's still the capital of Amn, one of the wealthiest nations in Faerun. A place where nearly every aspect of life revolves around money. Almost everything is legal in the city of coin. The best place to take advantage of that is the Adventurer's Mart at Waukeen's Promenade. They sell items from as far away as Sigil. Amn is ruled by the Council of Six, drawn from the most influential merchant houses. But it's common knowledge that the real power rests with one of the most dangerous women on the Sword Coast, Captain Vashar Vo, who commands the Coverus One, a planar ship parked in the city slums. If you are visiting, be sure to stop by the Five Flagons Inn and catch a performance by our own Hyerdalis. The Tempest of Thay is fantastic. It's a love story between a red wizard and a female clone of his. But it's not all fun and games. Interplanar visitors have been seen on the streets of the city searching for items made of silver. A mysterious creature stalks the slums at night. The authorities have offered a sizable bounty, however the entity always seems to be one step ahead of the chase. But worry not, our community is well protected from any threat, be that planar savages, psionic horrors, or unchained demons by the Covenant Host, a mercenary enterprise of renown. Underneath the city is the maze of secret paths and dungeons such as this one. This is the big reactivity moment. People we befriended in our adventures will show up to aid us against the vampire coven. If we sided with Aaron Linvale, he sends a rogue to disarm the traps. The Order of the Radiant Heart dispatches one of their paladins. Drizzt shows up, if we are on good terms. But, it is what it is. God of murder, etc., etc. This is also where the romance plot reaches its climax. Companion romances were one of the game's great innovations, and they are very memorable, in no small part because of how strange the cast of characters is. A widow of a diseased friend of ours, a misandrist who considers male to be cattle, an elf who looks like a little girl, but she's actually over 100 years old. Uh-oh. And then there is Anomen. Do I even need to say anything? Romances tie into the main story. This is what happens here. Body abducts our romantic companion and then kills them. To get them back, we must carry their body to Imnisvale in the Umar Hills, to the Temple of the Forgotten God, remember that side quest, and perform a resurrection ritual. But we managed to strategically avoid all that by preemptively ruining Anomen's life. Now he is resentful and no longer interested in a romantic relationship, and thus there is no reason for the vampire to kidnap and murder him. See, I am soulless, not heartless. Or was that the other way around? The final battle with Body. We pre-summon monsters to counter her own summons. It's possible to add holy water to the blood fountain to weaken the vampires even further, but frankly, Vashar doesn't need that kind of help. You already know who landed the final blow.
No, it's mine! This life is mine!
One down, one to go. The Rin Lanthorn is an artifact from Myth Rin, prized for its ability to shine through all falsehoods and illusions. We can use it to reach the secret city of Suldanesalar, or cheat at cards. I plan on making another Baldur's Gate 2 video that covers the Beamdog additions to the game. That's a bunch of new companion characters and 30 new locations. It's like a full expansion. Sounds very promising. So we won't be killing Irenicus yet. As for the soul you stole, you can keep it. For now. The party gathers at the Coronet. Imoen tells a story about how the paladins of the Order of the Radiant Heart once donated a suspicious book full of pictures of naked men and women to the Library of Candlekeep, our alma mater. Well, perhaps the prelate was finished with it and gave it to your monks as a present. Those paladins are quite repressed. They can be just kind of pompous. You know, you're not as bad as I figured you might be, though, Anomen. Well, I am glad you think so. I escaped from their clutches just in time, I suppose, eh? Escaped! Ha ha ha! Escaped, is it? Escaped, Anomen? Well, of course, there is always someone about who feels the need to comment on my life. Here are some final review bits that didn't make it into the video. The soundtrack doesn't surpass Mask of the Betrayer as the best Forgotten Realms score, but it's very good. Let's give it another listen. The main theme. One of the strongest calls to adventure, on par with Oblivion's theme. The Pirate Island music I've been using for map scenes. Khalid's death. I don't agree with that choice. Khalid's death sounds like this in my head. Another thing I love is that each chapter has its own theme and vibe. We start out by trying to stay afloat financially by doing mercenary work. Then there is the sea journey and an insane asylum, the Githyanki, the fish city, the Underdark, Drow employment. That's what going on an adventure means. You never quite know what's coming next. The Larian game also captures this. But Baldur's Gate 2 has a serious flaw, and that's signal-to-noise ratio. It's one of these games that will use 40 words where 10 would suffice. All the exchanges I read in the video are heavily edited, so much so they are no longer authentic. Furthermore, I have no idea what's at stake in the second half of the story. What happens to a person whose soul gets stolen? Are they gonna end up a sociopath like Irenicus? Is that what's gonna happen to Vashar? She will become Patricia Bateman? But that's the thing. I hope you had a good year. Like and subscribe. Peace and prosperity to your home. May that of the human essence grow strong and flourish. May that of the thieves live forever. Good evening.